Mamma mia! Mamma mia! Huh? Nope. Nope. Mamma mia!
This episode is sponsored in part by PTZ Optics. Why hire a camera operator when the control is in your hands? Visit ptzoptics.com for more information. And by NewTek, makers of the TriCaster TC1. Stun your viewers, not your accountant. Visit newtek.com for more information.
We're back and we didn't get canceled. Isn't that a shock?
Yes, howdy.
It's a shock. We are back here with another Game Masters podcast. Welcome, everyone that's watching. See a bunch of you guys in there. Ooh, I was getting a little nervous. We've been making some improvements, Brandy.
Yes, we are trying over here.
Brandy didn't get electrocuted at least this week. She had a lot of storms that came in, and we were working on her internet and everything like that. And she's here, full frame rate. Everything's going on. We are streaming to Instagram. So if you guys are watching on Instagram, you can come on over to YouTube on Brandy's channel, my channel. It doesn't matter. You can come over if you don't want to watch it that small, but some people live on Instagram. So we're trying some new things. We're going out to many platforms, right? Many many platforms. And Jay wants to know. JJ in the
Yes.
chat room wants to know if are you in Texas? That's what he wants to know.
I am not. I just love saying howdy, howdy.
Oh, that's what it is.
Uh,
Oh well. He wanted to know. So is this the one I have it on this time? Brandy, are you in Texas? There it is. Biggie D, we'll give a shout
no,
out.
but maybe one day.
Maybe one day. Yeah. Yeah, you travel a lot, so let's go through the chat room real quick, like we do. Well, what we started to do last week, and see everybody that's here. And if I miss you, I apologize. But we've got Biggie D's Arcade in the chat room. We got JJ in the chat room over here, and let me see if I can look on Instagram. Wildcard Video Games over there. I can't pull up the other ones right out of the gate because we're on Twitch and all that. I can't keep track of all that. Johnny Graphics in the chat room. Who do you got over there, Brandy?
I have Mr. Gretzky. I have him in there. I have X-Men Shadowcat. I have Space Ghost Gaming. And the comments are just coming on in. So everyone, welcome. Say hi if you guys are in here. And, we're talking about all kinds of stuff. So just put all of your input if you have questions and everything. Oh, very cool. We have Ernesto in here. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and Brandy's in a room. She's in I don't know, is it considered your toy room? Is that what you're in right now?
Yes, it is my toy collection / office.
Okay. So you're in there, and we had to do a little bit of a rigmarole to get her hardwired to the internet, and we hopefully got that taken care of. She does have a better webcam. Somebody was saying you need better internet or better webcam. Sorry, that's what JJ's saying. We're working on that because of where she's located. We had to do power Ethernet through the power lines. So if you want to look that up, we did that this week. So it's just it's progress. And then she has a camera like I do. We just have to get it set up. So it's right in time.
Yes, always moving forward.
Yeah, we're gonna try to get that.
Trying my best.
We're gonna get that. We're gonna get that moving forward. So, thank you. Yes, Johnny Graphics says congrats on the 9K subs. Thank you to both audiences. I really appreciate you guys getting me to through that hump or to that hump, over that hump. And that was like I felt like I was sitting in limbo for the 8,000 subscriber for like ever. I just felt like that last 20 took months. Just I don't know. It was just weird. Did you have that problem when you were down with the lowly people like me?
No. Don't sell yourself short there. No, but I feel like sometimes you do get stuck on a certain number. So at some point, once it starts passing and moving on, it's a good feeling when you start, gaining some momentum. So let's hope, everyone who's watching, on my channel, make sure you subscribe to both. And check out he's going for some really cool stuff too. If you're especially a Nintendo fan and you're into all of this tech, just make sure you subscribe and check out all of his content. Help him get on up a little with the subscribers.
I appreciate that, and I want our audience to also get involved. Brandy had an idea. I think you said earlier today when we were on the phone, just kind of making sure we had dotted our I's and crossed our T's about like the question of the week. If somebody wants to send in a question that they have pertaining to a particular game or whatever it is, to send it to us. Right now, they could DM it to us on any of the social platforms, right? And you'd read all that, right?
Yes, I think we're gonna go ahead and get some things moving with the community. So make sure you guys follow our socials, and then that way we'll go ahead and have some questions for you guys. We'll have some parts where you guys can send in some video footage and just different things like that. So make sure you guys really stay tuned and follow along for that.
Yeah, we'd love to see those game rooms. Get those videos sent to us. We'd love to showcase them. And if you're a business, we are going to actually see that this week. You're going to see a couple businesses that watch the Game Masters, and they're going to, we're we're going to encourage you guys to check those businesses out as well. They have online presence and whatnot. So, yeah, without further ado, let's kind of roll the first clip as we go into what we're here to talk about, and that is gaming conventions.
Hi, this is William Jackson from Millennium Flashbacks. You're watching the Game Masters on YouTube.
So, Brandy, you just got back from a video game convention. Well, actually, you did 2 already. You did 2 already
Yes,
this
I
year.
have.
So
Yes, I have.
so let's talk to us. What was the first one you did?
So the very first one was Raleigh Retro Gamers. It's in Raleigh, North Carolina, if I'm pronouncing that right. I tend to say things a little off. But they had the Game and Geek Expo. So my buddy, who is a part of that, he invited me out, and that was a really fun convention. It was their first year at a convention center, putting on this big event. And surprisingly, a lot of people showed up and, came on out supporting it for like a first year. And it was just a really great time. I had a good time, catching up with everyone. I found some really good deals. As you guys know, I'm always on the hunt. And yeah, that was a really cool experience.
And then from there, I'm sorry there's not a lot we can show you on the website here because that's a wrap. So you also then went to Too Many Games outside of Philly, right?
Yes, I did. I went on Saturday. So my buddy who puts on the Gaming Geek Expo, he actually told me, he persuaded me to come on out to Too Many Games. And I'm so glad that I did because it was a really great time this year. I felt like people were willing to make those deals. They were willing to, go down way below price charting and eBay sold and all of that. And they just kind of wanted to move their items. They didn't want to sit on it anymore. And I felt like that's very important for the gaming community because we see overpriced things all the time. And I felt like this year they were really, oh, they're saying it's pronounced Raleigh.
Raleigh. Yeah, that's how I heard it.
Maybe I said Riley.
Raleigh.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to say that, but
Close enough. But yes, I feel like Too Many Games really helped out with the pricing, at least all of the tables and vendors that I went to, and I was able to score some really cool stuff.
And I've got a bone to pick with you because I was asking you what conventions you were going to go to this year, and you're like, oh, I don't know, probably maybe one. I'm going to go to Siege, which we'll talk about a little later. And then all of a sudden, our good buddy Video Game Votery all of a sudden's like, oh, I had to say what's up to my homegirl Brandy at Too Many Games. She didn't even tell me she was going. So this is how last minute it was.
I really didn't even know. He was just like, hey, you should come out to the convention. And I was like, I don't know. I just have a lot going on, yada, yada. And then an hour later, he's like, I got you a ticket. Come on out tomorrow. And I was like, I can't say no now. He got me a ticket. Like,
I noticed, was he filming some of the stuff for you? Because he's really tall, isn't he? Well, he's taller than you. Well, everybody's taller than you. But
I know.
I know when Stephanie's shooting.
In the one footage you'll see, I look like a little baby.
You look like you're looking up at him. I was like, what are you doing?
You'll see it. It's the funniest clip ever.
I was like, either Stephanie's standing on a ladder or her buddy's shooting the video. Her buddy was shooting the video. That was kind of the funny part. But listen, the reason why we're doing this show today is because we are going in the convention season, and not everybody has all the money in the world to be going out to every one of these conventions. So I said to Brandy, I said, I think it'd be cool for you to talk about some of the ones that you've been to, and she said same with me. And so you guys can decide which one, based on hearing us, seeing some footage, that you want to put your hard-earned money to. We're not going to tell you, which one you should do. That's entirely up to you, but we are going to say which ones we had the most fun at. We're going to tell you which ones that we thought did a really good job in certain areas, and then you can decide what you're looking for, right?
No, I definitely agree, because there are so many conventions out there, and some people say that there's too many conventions, but I love that there's so many, because not everyone, like your average person who does not travel as often, who is not a part of this YouTube scene and all of this stuff, they typically, they want things in their own community. They want their gaming stores to be a part of something. And I think that's really important because no matter where you are, it seems like there's conventions all the time. And whether it works out with your work schedule or your family life or anything like that, it's great to have options and it's great to have a variety. And maybe if you're able to, fly on out or drive out somewhere, it's really cool to see, all of these different events because maybe you can turn that into like a family vacation or, somewhere to travel and explore. So I think that's really cool that there are so many, and it's neat that we all give our own little perspective on them.
Yeah, that was something that, some of these conventions I'd love to get to. I might have to be next year at this point to try, to get down and do some of the ones that are down more to the south. But I mean, anything's possible, I guess. But let's talk about. You said you teased everybody. You said that you picked up some stuff, and some stuff that you're only going to see on this podcast, right?
Yes.
So what did you pick up?
There's plenty.
Oh wait, do we have footage? Oh yeah, we have footage of this. Do you want me to roll it?
Yes.
So I saw this one of the years that I came here, and I regretted it ever since. So now I think I have to add this guy into the collection, this talking Mario, but this like Mario 64 era. I feel like this was definitely meant to be, and it'll have to go right in my collection.
The Jolly Green Giant was filming you. See, that's what I was saying to everybody. Did you see that? He's like way up here shooting. How tall is this guy?
I'm like holding this up, and everyone said that. They're like, geez, how tall is he? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, it just looked funny. I look like a little baby. Like, I'm just like, look at the little thing. And I'm just like raising it up.
I mean, granted, like you're not super tall, and I'm not making fun of her. She knows. I mean, I'm 6'2", so next to her, I'm kind of a giant. But this guy, he looked like he was close to like 6'5", 6'6". I
know someone said drone footage.
Right? So I wasn't kidding when I told you it almost looks like. Originally, I thought Stephanie was standing on a chair, and then I'm looking at it and I'm going, she'd have to be on a couple. Right? I was gonna say she'd have to be on a couple chairs or a ladder. No offense, Stephanie. But I was like, dang, that's tall. That'd be even tall for me. Like, was she holding it like way up or whatever?
Yeah, I did have it like on like the little gimbal thing, but he must have like had it all the way up.
Yeah, well,
no, but
that was still funny though. So that was a good pickup. That was from what Mario 64 era or N64 era, excuse me.
Yes, it's from the 90s. I think it's like 97 or something like that.
Wow.
And the crazy thing is, I saw it 2 years ago when I went to Too Many Games. One just like it in like the same booth. He said that he had two, and he was sitting on them like several conventions ago, and no one bought them. And then this year, I was looking at it, and he immediately lowered the price. So I thought that was crazy. Like, I didn't even ask at first to like lower it or anything. I was just staring at it, and he was just so happy, I guess, to yes, that was at Too Many Games, but he was just so happy, to make that deal. And then he said both of his plush actually sold when we circled back around.
Wow. And so he was asking, so overall, I think you went a couple years ago, and you didn't really have the greatest of times there, because you had a video on it, because you felt like a lot of the vendors were like overpriced. Like they were putting like really high end prices on some of them, which it didn't feel like a convention. Has your opinion changed now that you've been back there and experienced it again? Like almost like they weeded out like maybe the bad vendors.
Yeah, I think maybe it was just like bad timing with everything. And there were like some other things that had happened at the convention, just where I felt like the flow was not flowing right.
Okay.
Like at first you were funneled into like the arcade area. It was like a bit chaotic, overcrowded. This year I felt like the arcades and stuff were all the way at the back of the convention. So I felt like everything was much better, like flowing wise. So I did like how they had everything set up. So maybe they were listening to some of the critiques a couple years back. And some of the same vendors that were overpriced 2 years ago, I noticed they were willing to work the deals.
Mm.
And, of course, any convention that you go to, you might find a game for 50, you might see it for 30, 40, 20, like you might see it all over the place. But a lot of people, if you were willing to haggle, not just pay that direct amount, I feel like people were taking like extreme cuts on some of the games.
Wow.
So like instead of paying 160, I think there was like a game that, and that's what like price charting at eBay, like I think it was like around like 110 or something. They were willing to go. So like that's a pretty good amount off, which is crazy.
So William wants to know in the chat room. So I wasn't there, so we're going to lean on you for this. He wants to know what was different about this con. So what stood out to you that really made this con memorable? I guess even this year, right?
Yeah, I think so what's really big about Too Many Games, it's like one of the largest in the like I guess like northeast area.
Now, is that them
And
saying that, or is that you saying that, or is that just historically people know that? Because everybody says that my con's the biggest, the best, the baddest.
I think there's data to back it up, and the
Okay.
fact that literally everywhere you go it's like super crowded. And
It
I think they
was.
do have like thousands and thousands of people that show up. Like it does do very well. And I think that's because they also have not only like special guests like voice actors and different things like that in the gaming industry. Like they have, like the voice of Mario and like all these like bigger voice actors. They also have like Angry Video Game Nerd, and they have like RGT 85, and they usually have like beat 'em ups, and they have Scott the Woz, like different years that you go. Like I've seen all of them each time that I've went. So I feel like they have like a bigger creators and just like a lot going on. And just like all the other conventions, they have a market where you can buy stuff. They have panels. They do also have like a concert that goes on at night, like after the convention is, pretty much like over. So they do have that some conventions have, not all. And they do have a wrestling ring for like Smash Brothers. I have seen that at a few other conventions. But I think it's like they have like a lot of big names, a lot of big creators, and it's just like a convenient spot where it's like free parking and just so many people can fit in the convention.
A lot of the coverage that I've seen from other creators out there, because I've never been there, so I'm going off of what you're telling me, off of what other creators, and every video that they did from the floor between all 3 of the days, it looked packed. Even Sunday, like I was thoroughly impressed by that. And since I'm not too far from Philadelphia, it'd be like a 4.5, 5-hour drive for me to go there. I might have to try to check it out next week. We'll have to see. We'll have to see. So hopefully, William, that kind of answers your questions, because there's a lot of different pros and cons to each of these. And I know the next one that we're gonna show here, Brandy. This is one I've never been there. And so why don't you talk a little bit about this one coming up here? This one.
Yes. So this is the Southeast Game Exchange. I have been going for, I think this is like my 5th year that I'll be going. And I feel like Austin, who puts on the show, he is like the nicest person that I've ever met. And he really genuinely cares about making an experience for everyone. And it doesn't matter if you're like a little creator or you're a larger creator, like he just treats everyone like the same. And he's just like super nice. Like he wants your feedback. He wants to make a better family environment for everyone at this convention. And just the Southeast Game Exchange, video game votaries in the chat, and we all love this. It just leaves like that lasting impression. And I feel like you get like so many great deals there. I've gotten big items. I feel like the whole YouTube community, like so many people show up. It doesn't matter like who, they're most likely going to be there. And it's just a fun time no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, and how fitting was this, that he actually went with like a Donkey Kong theme and really didn't realize or didn't know that Donkey Kong Bonanza was coming out on the 17th, which is in the literally the day before the convention starts. Like, how cool is that, right? To have that kind of promoing with your convention. I thought that was kind of cool.
I know. I love it because my first video game console that was like mine, not one that I played on,
Yeah.
was the Jungle Green Nintendo 64 with Donkey Kong 64 and that DK rap. You know how I always rap now?
Yeah, that went viral last week.
I know, it sure did. But like where it's like DK Donkey Kong, you know, like just that like beat, it plays in my head all the time. Like anytime someone brings something up, that is just going, you know, in my
Yeah.
head.
So William in the chat room, as you guys saw earlier, he has Millennium Flashbacks. He's one of the vendors. I've met him at many conventions and hang out with him sometimes. And he said, you know, it's one thing, you know, he says here, he goes, at a con, he says, I will always be below retail. You spend the money to get in. I will not stand for price gouging. And that's good. I think as more and more, Brandy, if more and more vendors did that. I mean, obviously we know they got to make money. You know, they got to sell their stuff, but there is such a thing as price gouging, right? And so you didn't find that at Siege, right?
No, I don't think I've ever really seen that at Siege. I've seen it at the other convention that we just chatted about, but that was 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And that also could have been too, like COVID and the pandemic was a crazy time and it was really crazy for video games. And now we're starting to see that with like Pokemon cards, or we've seen it for a little while, but just seeing that stuff, you know, I feel like video games are starting to come back down. You know, they're already down. They're not like pre-pandemic prices, but I feel like a lot of that like craziness, people are starting to call people out on that stuff.
Yeah.
Which is good. We need more people to like take accountability and to, you know, call these people out, because it's absurd when you're paying crazy prices for certain things. So I do like the community, and I love how Siege, like, there's people that specifically they will not sell to YouTubers, they won't sell to vendors, they won't sell to anyone who comes in right away. They only sell to like the
VIPs.
They don't even sell to the VIPs or whatever right away. Like they will wait and sell them to you know, just the regular convention goer, and they'll hold off because they want to make sure that everyone is getting that equal treatment.
Yeah.
And I think that's really nice to see, because you know, you don't want to spend all this money going into conventions when other people have already bought everything up. And you know, I think that's really admirable for, you know, people to do, and they do that at Southeast Game Exchange. There's a lot of vendors and tables that will specifically hold out for, you know, regular convention goers.
Well, I know you, me, Riggs, Game Closet, a bunch of others. We were like that at the conventions that we were at. We wouldn't buy anything until the general public came in. Now, I will say, minus one thing, William was there, and he had a bunch of commons that I needed for the NES, and I figured, most people aren't going to come in looking for commons for NES that I needed for the complete set. So we did make a deal beforehand. But outside of that, like, you know, like some of the fantastic deals that you get on some of the more expensive items, the real higher end collectibles, you know, that's something you and I and others have taken a step back, and we're like, we're just not, you know, we're not going to do that, because it's not fair to the people that are paying the money to come in. We were invited as guests. We didn't have to pay to get in. We didn't have to pay for anything. So it's just not fair, right?
Yeah.
So Jay, so let's answer Hollywood Polo's question. He was asking, I know you and I reviewed this before. I don't want to get too far off the beaten path here. With the Arcade TV XR haptics or XR TV stick. I'll be honest, I haven't seen anything with it. I haven't really been paying much attention if they have a haptics kit now. I'll be honest, the last time I played that thing was probably when I reviewed it. I just I'm sure you're the same way, right? You haven't been really focused on the arcade stick, right?
I think I played it one time after that, and I am trying to move it now so that I can have it ready to go all the time. So I'm trying to find a good spot in my game room to like shift it to so that I can play it, because I do love how it's like just like ready to go. Like I like stuff that's simple, you know me, not really
yeah,
the
yeah.
tech
And
person over here.
it is difficult to get going with certain systems. Well, so Jay's got a really good question. Kind of
Mhm.
curious to see what you think of this as well. He says, do they think they can get higher prices out of regular folks versus people who are connected to the industry? That's a really good question.
No, I mean, yeah, that's something very interesting, because people always talk about, the prices of video game conventions, like the tickets and everything like that. Some people, they did have some critiques on how expensive the tickets were for too many games, but I do feel like a lot of people still came and they still paid those prices.
Yeah, I do think the common folk don't know what these prices are, and so they do think that they can get one over on them, or or something along those lines. I don't think it's their main focus, though. I think they think, well, if you're a collector, you're going to pay for it if you want it bad
Yeah.
enough. Jason Little Alien said, heck, there's people with no marketplace or store who sell stuff at eBay prices, and they're saying the 13 to 15% eBay fees, or they're saving
Mhm.
those eBay fees. Yeah, man, it's hard with some of this stuff, It's
Yeah, it's always tough, because that's how I look at it. When I go to a convention, I don't just throw money out there. I want to research and look up to see even if they have it priced right. So common ground, I usually pick like a very common Super Nintendo game or something that I know the price of. Like if it's a $10 game and they're selling it for 30, I'm going to walk away from that table, because that just seems absurd. But then I'll move on to another table, and if they have that $10 game for about $10, I'll see if maybe I can offer cash and buy a couple games, and then, maybe just take a couple dollars off. So I'm saving a little bit of money, I'm working a deal, and I'm getting it cheaper than eBay. Because if I get it for more than eBay, I'd rather just buy it on eBay, have it shipped to my door, have the warranty, and all that protection.
Well, here's the thing too. People have to remember, like, we want these cons to stick around, just like we want the mom and pops, the William Jacksons of the world, and the wildcard video games of the world. We want them to stick around because these, especially the gaming conventions, we want them because they wouldn't be vending that. They go to these conventions to vend. Brandy, I'm not going to go on eBay and buy Panic Restaurant for NES. I'm not going to go buy Bonks. I'm not going to go buy Stadium Events. I'm not going to, if I didn't have it, I'm not going to go there and buy it. Why? Because how do I know I'm getting an actual legit copy of it? It could be a fraudulent copy. Whereas if I go to a convention, I physically get to hold it. I get to watch, the guys from Retro Gaming Asylum open it up right there in front of me and show me that this is a legit copy of the game, right? And I'm spending my hard-earned cash. You, of all people, you went to GameStop during their whole retro blow-up that they did. You purposely bought a fake Pokemon game, and they didn't even know it was fake.
Yes.
You did a video on it.
Yes. So I went in there, and they had some Pokemon games. So right away, and I talked it over with them after the fact, and then they were able to show me their tools that they have so that they can verify cartridges, and they had a paper after the fact that kind of showed just some basic things on spotting fake games. So I feel like it was just a slow transition, out when they were doing that, and maybe it was like rushed, but I did that to show that you really have to verify things. Don't take anyone's word for anything.
Yep.
Because you want to make sure that you're not getting ripped off.
We're not bashing GameStop here, so we don't want anybody to think that we're bashing GameStop here. Just making it a point that physically going to a store, you can at least hold it and open it up if you know what you're looking for.
Yeah.
So that's something that, I love about the conventions. One of the conventions here, Brandy, that is coming after that. I don't know how much experience you have with it. We don't have a video promo of this. But Southern Fried Gaming Expo, and the only reason I pulled it up because it's coming up here in June, or it was in June 20th, through 22nd. Next year, this will be coming up. But this was just over. My good buddy Adam Calvin in the chat room said this is a very good convention. It's in the Atlanta area. Have you ever been to this?
Yes, I went out a couple years ago. It was a group of us. I won't say which group.
Okay.
But we did go out there. We were invited out as guests, and I actually liked it. Now, it is a little bit far from me.
Well, yeah, it's
And
Atlanta, yeah.
that was a little bit of a drive, but I will say they had like over 300 like arcade machines and like pinball machines, and it was insane to like go there and just see families and kids and everyone just playing games. I felt like that. Yeah, Millennial Collector Ohio's in here.
Oh yeah, he went
Yeah,
with you too, right?
I felt, yeah, we went there. I felt like that was just like amazing. That was like quite the experience. And even for like us guests, it was really cool how they had this like special dinner. I felt like I was the fanciest person ever. We were all he said, yeah, he came in at the right time. We all sat down and we ate this like amazing dinner because it was attached to a hotel. I
Okay.
think it was. And just the way that they had it set up, it was just really a fun time, just like to celebrate the love of gaming and arcades and pinballs. They did the unveiling. I think it was like a Venom, the pinball machine.
Yep.
But it was insane when we went out. There were quite a few vendor booths, not like other marketplaces, I will say, but I think that they were growing that. So I'm curious to see kind of how it was this year versus just a few years ago. And the panels were really cool too. We did a panel there, so that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, my buddy Adam, who lives in Florida, he wants me to come down to that next year and hang out and kind of do some coverage and stuff. So maybe that'll be something on my to-do list next year. With it, William in the chat room, he was saying here, no, quality is key. He said when it comes to vendors and comes to games, if you can make the deal and get it cheaper for your collection, I want to put it into your collection, into your hands. So, I mean, that's not everybody's mentality, unfortunately, in that space. They want to try to get as much money as they can from it. You're one of the different folks, I think, that are out there. I know you look for games for me that I need for my collection and stuff, but not all the vendors are like that. There's a lot of them that'll take advantage of you. We know, we've talked to we've went through a few of them with that. So let's talk about one that actually, you say you're not coming, but I have a feeling you're going to end up coming to this at some point. This is coming up here the beginning of September. And I know, again, there's other conventions. We're just speaking on ones that we've been to or have experience with. We've both been to, along with Thomas, he's in the chat room, and a few others. William's been here. We've been to Corgs. Now, this year, Brandy, they've partnered with GDEX, which is an independent developer conference. So they're doing a 3-day. They're doing a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. But GDEX goes on, I believe, or they're doing a Saturday, Sunday. GDEX is doing Friday, Saturday, Sunday with load in on Thursday, or maybe it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Either way, it's a long convention. I will be there this year. And they asked me to come out and broadcast live, so you guys can mark that and see what it's all about. A lot of indie convention, a lot of indie games, which I'm excited for because they're going to make some for NES. So we got to play the indie games for the NES, right? What about Corgs? I'm going to let you go with Corgs first. What do you think of Corgs? This will be if you go this year, it'll be what, your 4th year? Because I think it's going to be my 3rd year, so it'd have to be your 4th.
Third or fourth?
Was it your 3rd or 4th?
It'll be my 3rd or 4th.
Okay, so you've been going just as long as I have. Okay.
No,
Okay.
I mean, the first year that I went out, I mean, I had a lot of fun. We always joke that I literally bought some person's entire table.
She did.
Just a joke.
She did.
But I did. I found some really good deals there, and I felt like, I felt like it was like a part of like a community. Everyone was just there, just with the love of, just making them deals, and I felt like it was a really good time. And then the next couple ones that I went to, I felt like, those were a lot of fun. It definitely expanded last year to even larger space. So I like that too because, I got to meet more people. And I felt like that was a good time too. I got that like Chucky doll that's somewhere over
No, wait,
here.
wait. I gotta stop you there. Wait a second. You didn't get the Chucky doll. Stephanie got the Chucky doll because you're gonna have to pry that from her cold dead hands because there ain't no way she's gonna give you that Chucky doll unless she did give it to you. But she was very
right
adamant.
here. It's here on the floor.
Oh, she was very adamant that was her Chucky doll. I remember that because you guys came back. It was hilarious. Like, so they come back, and they're both like standing there like this with their hands like wrapped. Their arms are like wrapped around stuff. And I was headed out just to start looking. Oh no, they come back with a pile of stuff. Like, oh, I had this. I found this. I'm like, dang, you haven't been gone 5 minutes.
Hey, you got to move quick. That's how it is. Like, you ever have that regret? Anyone in the chat where you go out to a convention and you walk around and you're trying to find, like something that really stands out, and you like something, and you go, if it's there the next lap, and you leave and you walk around and you come back and it's gone.
It's gone.
That
no,
terrible feeling,
But that's the joke. We always say Brandy's going around to buy up the whole place and everybody can just leave. But I will say, from my experience with Corgs, again, this will be my 4th year going back. I've never been to GDEX, so I can't speak on that, but it sounds very interesting, and the independent developers. But Gary Cornucci, he is the owner of Corgs. He always treats you like family. I can honestly say, like, when you go in there, he's always like, man, hey, bud, are you okay? How you doing? Do you need anything? And Thomas, who's in your chat room, Millennial Collector Ohio, he last year really stepped up and was helping because Gary's daughter was getting married, and we came in and there were some things that we wanted to change, and Thomas was like, well, okay, let's do it, let's make it happen. So he just started jumping in. All the YouTubers jumped in. We made it work. We all had a great time, right? The way we had it set up, we were hooting and hollering and having fun broadcasting, and just running around and being crazy. And like, I've watched Gary go from something very small and minute that was like the equivalent of like a marketplace. Would that be fair?
Yeah, like a swap meet marketplace
to an actual convention. So like anything, there's shortcomings with every convention, but one of the things with Gary, I can honestly say, like, he wants you there. He wants you having a good time. He's always like, can I do anything for you? That means a lot to me. That means more to me than if I got a good deal on a game or not. Because, as a guest there, I also want to make sure that I'm bringing him value, right? Just like you, or you bringing him value with the footage that you're doing and, talking about his convention or whatever. But I honestly think, if you were looking for a first convention, Corgs is a great one to start out, and that's out in the greater Columbus area. I guess we should also mention where they're at, because it doesn't.
Oh, true.
Yeah, this is going to be in Columbus. So I can honestly say, I think Corgs was my first one ever that I ever went to, and I have to say, just hanging out with other content creators, that's the biggest draw that I get with going to these conventions. It's like all of us get to hang out, have a good time, go out to eat. I kind of like that more than just even picking up games. I mean, picking up games is like a bonus, right? Like, I feel like that's just a plus, right? Like, I think this part, and Stephanie says we need Tommy now.
We do. We have I have like a little Tommy that I found at the thrift store, but it's not the same. Like, I think these are like from the 90s, like that big Chucky that I have.
Yeah.
And we're talking about Rugrats, not the
not Chucky the
Chucky,
yeah.
We're talking about, we're keeping a little light. I collect Nickelodeon, not really horror. I would need another house if I collected horror stuff.
Stephanie says, is BD Retro Mods, Brian, is he going to be that one? He's the best. That's a good question. I haven't talked to Brian in a while. If he's watching the show. Brian, are you going to be there?
Yeah, I know. I'm curious.
I want to see if he's going to be there. The next one that we have that both of us have been to, I'm going to show some footage here that we can kind of talk over. This was Pittsburgh Retro Gaming Expo. I messaged Brian, and so I have some footage here. You can see Dr. Scott and myself. I'll kind of scan through this because you really don't want to see us talking. But this is part of the, yeah. There's William. He's in the chat room right now. But this is the type of stuff that I'm talking about when you go to these conventions. You meet the vendors, and they know what you're looking for, except that Scott was looking for these really abstract games. Like, they were like games that, Brandy, you wouldn't even buy. Like, look, he's looking for Sesame Street. And William was going to give him a good deal on it, but he wasn't feeling it. But anyways, this is kind of how it is. You get to know the vendors get to know you as content creators. And a lot of times they'll let you know as you're walking by and you're filming their booth. They'll be like, "Hey, I have this when it opens up, are you looking for it or whatever?" Then Brandy, you can go back to that spot and buy that. But I think for Pittsburgh, the big thing that stands out for me with Pittsburgh is their arcade. I think they have one of the biggest arcades of the conventions that I've ever been to.
Yeah, they sure do. I feel like a lot of the other ones too, like they're definitely up there, I would say at the top, just because of it's like a whole variety of like the arcades, the pinball. They had the Super Mario Brothers pinball. I believe they had the yellow and the blue one. I think I took a picture and I have them like I'm pointing on both sides or something like that.
Yeah, you wanted
They
to take
had,
them
like,
home. We had to stop you.
I know. I was almost ready to. They just wouldn't fit in the car. It was a little. That's the only reason why. If I had a van, I could have got them both. But no, I mean it was a really cool experience because the light was set just right. People were just playing the games. They had free play area. They had like the piano rooms. They had a nice variety of everything in the vendor hall. I felt like that was really cool. It was a fun time. And then your setup, I almost got banned in Pittsburgh.
Yeah. Remember last week we talked about it? She was like, what was it? Go Ravens or Steelers suck or something like that. And I was like, oh.
I don't even know.
We were all just like, oh boy.
The looks.
And then the look she got, and then she was just like, yay, Steelers.
I was like, go Pittsburgh. And this lady, if looks could kill, I would say never insult the sports teams in any state that you're in, no matter what type of fan. Definitely do not do that because you may get some glaring looks.
Yeah, my daughter's here. She said Pittsburgh was a blast. My kids really loved Pittsburgh. They can't wait to go back again this year. My daughter does a lot of my production there in Pittsburgh. But Brandy, right now they have badges on sale. So if you're thinking about going along with pre-order merchandise, now's the time. This is October 3rd through 5th. This is at Monroe Convention Center. This is like on the outskirts of Pittsburgh. But again, this was busy from sun up till sundown. Like this was like, I mean, a lot of conventions are like, oh yeah, we had a really bit. This one was busy. Like we have video proof of it.
Too.
We have video proof of it. Johnny Graphics in the chat room said Pittsburgh Gate was a dark chapter in Ahmer's lore. You're not kidding. She was she was running for the hills. She was like, I'm never allowed back in Pittsburgh ever again. But yeah, no, like they have a lot going on. I think this year they've got some really special things planned. I don't want to say anything because I don't know if Brian has made it public about what they're planning to do. Not just with the video game space, but the tabletop space and the cosplay space, and of course the arcade. So I don't want to say anything, but I do know.
Don't say anything.
No, I'm not going to say anything because I don't think Brian contacted me after the show and be like, "Dude, you're uninvited because you just gave away all this stuff." But it was phenomenal. Like Video Game Votary drove up. If you guys don't know him, Marcus, a good friend of ours, another content creator, he drove up from your area actually.
Yeah, he's in the chat now, and he's saying that was hilarious. The go Pittsburgh.
Yeah, because
then even Game Closet. He's like, let's go to the tape.
Scott was there. Johnny Graphics. We all had a ball, and like, it was funny because that was the night. Remember, Marcus was hanging around that guy that got super drunk. Do you remember that when we were all hanging out at the one bar afterwards? We were just sitting and chilling. And Marcus was hanging around the guy. We thought the guy fell down the escalator. Do you remember that?
Oh, no.
You don't remember that? You guys were probably.
No,
Marcus is
I
probably
remember.
laughing right now. Because he's like, should I go check on him? I'm like, the dude was like walking. Remember, he walked around the whole upper area, and maybe it was, or was it Torg that he did that? Maybe it was Torg that he did that, and we
I
were all
remember
sitting there.
something happening somewhere.
And Marcus was like, man, I need to go look. I gotta go. Should I go check on him? And I was like, because he came over with him. He was another content creator. I forget his name, but he was talking to us. All of a sudden, he just disappeared. He was like, I think he said he had to go to the bathroom or something. We turned around. He was like gone. He's like stumbling down the hallway type thing, and we thought he fell down the escalators.
Oh no.
I mean, we were all sitting there. You were there, but you were probably like I said, you guys were having a good time. So, but that's something again that we do at these conventions. We get to go hang out with each other after hours and not talk about content creation. Just enjoy each other's. I don't know. Is he saying in the chat room? Does he remembers that, right?
He's laughing. There's laugh emojis.
So he's laughing because he remembers it.
Yeah, there's always something going on.
And then wait. On Marcus too. I'm going to say this too. The guy he goes, yeah, I'm not going to buying a lot of stuff here. I'm like, okay, we're talking, and then he comes back like, I swear it's not even 20 minutes later. He got like this stack of 3DS games, and I was like, not going to buy a lot of hot stuff, huh? And he's
That's
like,
his famous last words.
He's like, whoa. He's like, they made me a deal. Like, what was I gonna? I'm like talking like a stack. It wasn't just like 3 or 4. Like he had 20 of them.
Yeah, I do remember that.
I'm like, dude, you just got done saying to me, oh, well, I'm not gonna buy a lot of stuff, and he turns around and, anyways, so we had a ball. Pittsburgh. I think the biggest plus I'll say for them is very organized. Brian runs a tight ship.
Mm-hmm.
From my experience that I've seen there, the arcade is one of the second to none. I don't know if anybody could do better. I think I would love to see, and this isn't really criticism, and it's not really anything again. I'd like to see more food options. I feel like the food options were kind of a little on the underwhelming side because, and I don't know if that's due to the event, the event center or what they're allowed to have in there. But that would be my only, if I was an attendee. And I know that stuff's expensive, and they're all going to sit there and say it's expensive. But
I will say sometimes with the conventions, I just found that out at too many games. The vendors can't sell hot food because they used to have like funnel cakes or something there because it competes with the convention itself. So
get out.
I did just learn that, so I know that that's something. But I just want to shout out Southeast Game Exchange is in the chat. They came in just a little while ago, so I just wanted to say thank you for stopping on in.
She's lying. Austin, she's lying. She had nothing but bad things to say about Siege.
All good things. One of my favorites.
No,
one of my
I'm just kidding, Austin. She had no. She. I'm just messing.
Yeah, he even said Southeast Game Exchange said a lot of convention centers won't allow outside food at all.
Yeah, that's true. I think one of the big things that these conventions, the conventions do, they try to work with people, right? They try to work the best that they can.
Yeah.
Mr. Rightway is in the channel, and he says I'm on both channels.
Oh, he's on both channels. I see it here.
Yeah, let me pull that up here. And then Greg Terry Experience, let me pull that up here. I see you guys popping in here. I'm trying to keep up with everybody. And he's like, thanks, enjoying the stream. Cool, pretty cool. Thanks, guys. And Stephanie, I have to pull this up because it's part of her contract for letting you do the podcast is I have to pull up comments from Stephanie when she's in the chat room. She says, Austin, can't wait to see you. So
yes, we cannot wait. So it's getting gonna be pumped over here.
So it's gonna be a lot of fun for you guys. I can't wait to see the videos that you bring back. I think it'll be a lot of cool things. And guys, it's very important if you're looking to go to one of these conventions that you watch the footage and you watch the videos of the content creators, whether you like the content creator or not. Watch it to see if it's something that you want to go to. And I know Brandy will be doing videos from there as well. Another favorite that we had that we both attended. This will be my actual 3rd year coming up that I will be there, and that is the Cleveland Gaming Classic up in Cleveland, Ohio. A lot of cosplayers, a lot of vendors, a lot of fun 3D camera, as you're seeing here. A lot of sets where you can go take some 80s pictures and things like that. I'll start with you. What did you think? What was some of your favorite things about Cleveland?
I really loved it. I had a really good time. I know that Stephanie did too. We just had a really good time. It was like this huge where it's at too. It was like it's pretty crazy. It's in like what like airplane.
It's like an airplane hangar. It used
something.
to be some kind of yeah.
Yeah, but they had arcades, they had pinballs. It was like a lot of fun playing that stuff. And then the vendors, like that was really cool because there were like some different ones than what I've seen before. I just felt like I saw a whole variety of different items, just like weird Nintendo things, games, and then just meeting people. And then where we were kind of like set up at, it was cool because there was Square Pegs and Game Dad.
Mm-hmm.
And
oh, the best was when Game Dad got shot with the t-shirt cannon right in his chest. That was funny.
Yeah, but it was cool. Didn't they have like a food truck or like a little section of them too?
They did. They had that root beer company that usually comes to every convention where you can
yeah.
I forget what it's called, but they're usually there. I'll tell you some of the shows that they do at Cleveland. I thought like they did Blind Punch Out. I thought that was pretty fun to watch. My daughter thoroughly enjoyed. They did a drawing of cartoons or video game characters. She enjoyed that. There, they have like tattoo artists that come in. I know a lot of conventions do the tattoo artists and stuff. This place is huge. I mean, like you better wear sneakers if you're going in there because you're gonna be on your feet a lot. Between the cosplay area, the arcade wasn't too shabby. They had a pretty decent, I would say, probably one of the second largest ones at any convention I've been at. Now, I can't speak for Brandy, but ones I've been at, I would say probably the second largest, next to Pittsburgh.
I'd say that one was a really good size too. I don't know like all the details, but I feel like they had a lot of space because they had like the whole kids center and everything.
Yeah.
Set up. But I felt like that was a pretty massive space too. I knew some of the conventions that I've been going to, like they're expanding each year, so it's always hard to say like which one's the biggest or whatever. But I feel like each one really does bring their own personality. And they all have something a little different to offer. So
hey, there's us.
Yeah.
We made the trailer. That was the broadcast setup from last year. That's what we'll be doing.
Yeah, that was really cool too. That's where I feel like we got to talk a lot there.
That's where we really, became really good friends. We started talking up there. I have to say, wouldn't you agree? And it's not because of Tom, so I don't want him getting a big head watching this. He calls himself the final boss, but we really know Tom. We know better than anybody that Kathleen, she's the final boss. You're just a pawn in her game. And Corey's in there somewhere too. I don't know if he's the mid boss, but no, I'm just joking. Tom and his team, those guys, they have a really good, they have a really good group of people working with them, making like the whole convention the best it possibly can be. I mean, honest to God, it was. They run a tight ship. It's another place that runs a tight ship, and you can see here the website here, and that's coming up September 19th through the 21st, 2025. Mm-hmm. So I will be up there. I'm going to be a guest there. I'll be a guest in Pittsburgh, guest in Corgs, and what was the other? GDEX. But as of right now, those are the three conventions that I'll be at this year. As of right now, those are my home body conventions, but a lot of special guests. There's some really cool ones coming that I probably can't talk about, so you'll have to wait and see when he announces it. Of course, outside of me, of course, I'm just kidding. I'm not that vain. I know my kids. Honest, this is all joking aside. If my kids tell me they can't wait to go back next year, I mean, yeah, they help with the production, as you know. They help do the live video and whatnot. But if they come and they say, "Hey, Dad, we'd really like to go back there," like that's the convention. Like if I have to choose, even if I'm being invited, and I have to say like no because of time off of work or money or whatever it is, I'm gonna go to the ones that my kids have the most fun with, regardless, right? I mean, because if they're bored, forget it.
Yeah.
They're not going to be motivated to do any of the production there because it's a boring convention, right? Like, let's not do that. And Game Closet brings up something very interesting too. I did see this in the news. This will be the last year CGC is at the IX Center. The IX Center will no longer be an expo center as of 2026, which is a shame. I wish that wasn't the case, but I'm sure Tom and his team has everything up, and they're already looking for next year on the convention or the next convention hall. What else do I have on here? Oh! Were you here before? Really rad weekend. This is coming up November 8th and 9th of this year.
I was not out there, but I've heard great things about it.
Mm-hmm.
So, like we mentioned before, when people go out to these different conventions, some people turn these into, a little vacation. They bring their family. This one is literally like at a resort,
This
and
is
I
Florida,
think it's
right?
attached to a beach, right, in Florida.
I think it is. I think this is in Florida. I just don't know exactly. I'm looking for it. I don't know exactly where, but I've heard good things as well.
Yeah. So it's always around the same time as Torg. So I think that's why I didn't get a chance to go out to it. But a lot of people will bring, like content creators, they will bring their families because you're literally like at the beach.
Yeah, this is at
Right there.
Fort Walton Beach in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
So that's for that. And that's a good point. Stephanie's already saying she wants to go because it's Florida, and with those types of conventions, none of my kids have never been to the beach, and I think if I was to go to Siege at some point or one of the conventions that are near the beach, that would be a must. I'd have to plan the trip to where we could stay at a hotel, go to the beach. If I was bringing all the equipment, I'd have to have transportation for that. But what I would do is make it a trip to where my kids can go to the beach. Yeah, my daughter's 16 and my son is 12, and they've never been to the beach. So
yeah, I think this would be perfect. I say 1 year we got to get out there.
Just
and Space Ghost is saying, and the weather won't be hot.
Oh yeah, that'll be nice.
So it's not going to be cold like here, in November. So it'll be nice. Yeah, that's one of the ones that PNX World wants to go to this year. Is they want to go back to Retrofest, Arkansas. And speaking about Rad Junk, got a chance to meet Sam and Joe. It was funny to have met them. That was Ernesto, because they went out to like SoCal Gaming in California. That's another one that I haven't been out to that I'd love to go out to. I gotta catch up with some people out there.
There's a lot of them. There's Portland, and we're gonna get to that, guys. We're only pulling out the ones that we've been to, so we can actually give an honest opinion of them. We can't give you an honest opinion of some of the other ones that we haven't been to. The last one I think that you and I have both been to, you've been there more than I have. And the order that I put these in were basically the order on the calendar. So this is, as you just said, normally Torg.
Yeah.
This is Torg's. This year they didn't do a convention out in Columbus, Ohio, which is normally where they do it at the convention center. But they did the Torg Gamers Market, and from what I heard up in Sandusky, Mike wants to do this every year. He's going to do both of these. It's not just going to be Columbus or the Torg, the gaming event that you and I went to. He's going to do this. And from what people said that they were up there, they were like, it was busy. They had a good time there. Some folks said that it probably could have been one day, but I don't know. I wasn't there. But Torg itself, we were there last year. It was kind of like ending out the year where we're all kind of like conned out.
Mm-hmm.
What's your experience? What do you think for the folks watching? What do you think of Torg?
Yeah, Millennial Collector Ohio, Thomas, he was saying that he vended the market one that they just did for the first time this year.
Okay.
And he said that he loved it.
Okay.
I've only been out to the Torg Gaming Expo a couple years now, and I've had a good time each time that I've went. And
that's because the guy bought out your table.
Huh?
That's because the guy bought out your table that you had there.
Oh yeah, that did happen. Yeah, she said, is that the one where the guy bought out the table? So I made perler bead art, and Retro Rick, he came up to the table and he sent me a video when I wasn't there, and he said he was gonna like kick the table over
He stole everything.
and knock all the stuff off. So we joked and said, "What happened to all my stuff?" Because some guy ended up buying all of it. He made an offer on all the Perler bead art, and I got a little bit of extra cash, to buy video games with. And I was messing around, and I was like, "Oh, you're trying to kick my table? Where'd all my stuff go?" And he's like, "I don't know where it went." We were just going back and forth, and I was like, "No, someone bought the whole table." So that was pretty cool.
Sorry, I was just checking. I saw my message went. Marcus actually messaged me. He was like, "That was hilarious." Back to what we were talking about before. I just sorry, I just saw
with the
that.
guy.
He texted me. I was like, "Yeah." So, but yeah, you got your stuff bought out. I think CC Games CEO is in the chat room, and he's also a vendor. He does a lot of the 3D art. If you've seen the 3D prints that I had, like the Mega Man that I have in the other room, he gave me a sweet deal on that. That's now lives in my
Those
room.
are awesome.
The little Mario. I'm waiting because he's supposed to be making me a bigger Mario. Like he's started making a lot of the Marios, like the bigger ones, like 3-foot ones, and I want one. Like if that's the only thing I walk home with from Cleveland, I'm okay with that. Or Pittsburgh, I'm okay with that. But he's supposed to be painted and everything. Hopefully, he gives me a good deal. But he does a lot, and he's there as or Tails. Tails would be good. I know you'd probably like that for your game room.
I know we'd love the Tails one.
So hopefully put some of this stuff together. But what I wanted to show you guys here is if you can go to videogamecons.com. If there is a convention, we're just speaking for ones that we've been to. So you can make a decision. If you're looking for a huge arcade, well, maybe you want to go to Pittsburgh. If you're looking for a plethora of vendors, maybe you want to go to Cleveland or Siege or some of these other ones, depending on what you're looking for. So that's what we're trying to bring up, some of this stuff. But you can go to videogamecons.com and you can look at any convention that comes up in your area. Again, we're not being like, oh, we're only going to mention these conventions because they paid us. They didn't pay us. Man, that would be nice if they would have paid us, huh?
I know.
But no. But from the start, I believe this goes through 29. Wait, let me see here. What did they say? 2029. Now through 2029. And it starts starting July 3rd all the way out to December. I mean, there's, like you can see here, this convention after convention after convention. So, yeah. I don't know, Brandy. There's too many conventions for too many. That's why you named it what you named it today.
Too many game cons.
Too many game cons.
But I mean, there's a lot of people out there in the world, so I guess it's a good thing. There's also a Facebook page as well that has like a whole list of running conventions where people will continuously update and add more conventions to it. Like in our chat, Ernesto's talking about they have the SAC, I think it's like Sacramento maybe, Gaming Expo. That was in Sacramento, California. They also have the Fire and Ice convention. It's like a game store out there. And some Skate and Bacon Media, he's saying that there is one in Minnesota. It's a general all geeky things convention that they have. So there's like all types of different ones, not just, video game. They have like some crossovers. Like we've been to like Awesome Con and these Comic Cons, and they will have video games, they'll have art, they'll have, different things like that. But, there's like a whole variety. So don't just limit it to like one thing, especially if you want to try different things. There's also, it says calendar's missing, Retro World Expo. That's in Hartford, Connecticut. That one's actually not that far from me. And yeah, what cons? Oh, Southeast Game Exchange said, what cons have you each not been to yet that are on your bucket list to try? Well, you want to go to Siege.
I want to go to Siege. Yeah, that's one because I've heard nothing but good things about it, and it's not because he's sitting in the chat room right now, but that's the God's honest truth. Like everybody, Retro Rivals have talked very, very highly of it back when they were there a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
All the coverage that I've seen from different people, Siege would be one of my ones, and I would like to go to. I'm trying to think of the one that's out in Arizona.
Retro Game Con.
Retro Game Con, only because the one that has the one guy, he runs it. He makes Sydney the Explorer, or Sydney. I can't think of it off the top of my head. Remember the Sydney?
No, Game on Expo.
Game on Expo
I
is the
knew
one
I
I
was-
want to go out. I want
That's
that,
what it
those
is,
two.
Arizona.
I would love to go to the one in Arizona, the Game on Expo, with Gamester 88. I was trying to think of his real name, but I just know Gamester 88.
Yeah.
And Siege. Those two right now. Of course, Retro Rick's. Although Retro Rick kind of snubbed me a little bit at Torg, I'm not going to let him live that down. Even though we were joke. It's a joke. It's not for real. Inside joke. Retro Rick's Con would be kind of cool. The other one in Southern California, SoCal Expo, would probably be the fourth one. I think those four, I would say, would kind of be a bucket list. What about you? What are you thinking?
Yeah. Millennial Collector Ohio saying John Lester.
John
That's
Lesnar,
your
thank
one.
you. I
Yeah.
just know him as Gamester. We've had him on the show before when I did my other shows. So I buy Sydney Hunter. I have a bunch
Yeah,
of those games.
I went out there a couple years ago in Arizona. That's the Game on Expo. The one I was talking about, it's fresh in my mind because I just saw them at Too Many Games. Retro Game Con, they're in Syracuse, New York. I liked both of those. The Syracuse, New York one, that was the one that I was on that Hulu episode. They
Okay.
ABC News The Show Nightline invited me out to there.
Yeah.
And that was a fun filming experience when I went out to Syracuse. So that was a pretty fun one. I do want to go out to Rick's convention. I know it has a name, but we all call it Retro Rick Con,
Yeah.
Um,
Retrofest. It's Retrofest. And we missed Midwest Gaming Classic.
Oh yeah, we did, and that's like one of the best ones.
Yeah,
I've heard.
I
I
that's
want to go out there too.
I still would put that at number. I'd probably put that between Retro Rick's and I would want to go to the Phoenix Game on Expo before I went to Midwest. That's just me. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
And yeah, SoCal, I definitely want to get out there. Retro Rick's, Midwest. I mean, there's just so many. If I had unlimited amount of money,
That's the
if I
trick.
was made out of money, or if I could sell my stuff that I'm attached to get more money, which I can, um, then I would love to go to all of these different conventions.
Yeah, it depends what I would do, what I'd have to do there, because like a lot of the conventions I go now, how much gear I bring. It fits in the whole back of my truck.
Mhm.
Those of you that have seen my setup at Torg, you've seen my setup at Cleveland when we did the panel for all the Halo guys. I bring a lot of gear to these conventions for podcasting and live streaming, and so to drive all the way down there, I'd probably have to bring my family to go some of these. I'd have to get like a trailer and put everything in there if they were going to want me to do something like that. But
Yeah.
man, just to walk around and vlog or something, I think that would be fun too. I'd be okay with that. And doing that.
No, I mean there's so many, and people are naming like tons all over. I know there's like Mo Game Con, there's something in Wisconsin. I feel like there's conventions in every state, whether they're Comic Cons, anime cons, video game cons, comic cons.
I met
There's
this guy here at
so
at a con first time. Him and I became friends, Project Retro Games on Instagram, and then he showed up and he's like, "Hey, I got a bunch of games for you." He makes a lot of repro games that are super expensive that
Mhm.
this boy's never gonna buy. But if you want to enjoy the game or sometimes remastered, he has them. So like he walked up, he's like, "Yeah, I like your content here." He's, and met for the first time, took some pictures and stuff. So again, these conventions are a must. You got to get out there and meet some of the people that you see on the internet and just have a good time, hang out with each other. Just don't bring Dr. Scott because you just never know what's going to happen.
Hey, it's always a fun time. We go through some crazy things. And I know you were bringing up some stuff earlier about what we witnessed, but I thought what happens at the con stays at the con.
Well, I'm just trying to feed in a little bit with everybody. Listen, do you remember when Dr. Scott with his daughter Harley, he had everybody that was in that vicinity doing this thing for Harley, where she's doing this video. He even had
yeah.
Metal Jesus doing it. Like, I mean, that's the kind of craziness that happened there. Harley's telling everybody, "This is what you're doing," and she's what, like 8? She's like,
she managed the whole
she
crowd.
managed the whole. Everybody that was within shouting distance was there doing this video at Torg when it was wrapping up. I think they even had Mike Coletti do it. Oh, she's 6. Even had Mike Coletti, like, it was hilarious. You got Metal Jesus doing it. It's like, I don't know. I got a kick out of that. I thought it's just certain things that happened. I don't know.
Yeah, that was sweet. She was super nice.
All right. So should we get to our pickups of the week?
Yeah, we should.
All right. Let's take a look at what we have this week. All right, so we're going to pull you up first, and we're going to talk a little bit about what is it, Sparkster? Is that what we're pulling up first?
Yes.
All right, let me see what I can do. Okay, so tell us what's so special about this game.
So I got this at Too Many Games. These are where I like to get all of my pickups and stuff at. And for a while, I've been on like a little just stagnant, trying to find Super Nintendo games. And Too Many Games really did have too many games. Like, I found so many Super Nintendo games, and not just a couple. I actually found this one. This one's a more expensive game. It can be over $100 and some. So I feel like this one's like an underappreciated game. Now, they do have it on the Super Nintendo. They have a couple on the Sega Genesis. And I just feel like it's like a lot of fun. So, I still have to play it a little bit more, but from what I can tell and what I've played, because I have Rocket Knight Adventures on the Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
This one just looks like a really fun one. So I'm definitely excited because you have like different attacks and, it's just a lot of fun. I feel like they're pretty creative and like the level designs and everything else on this. And I feel like it's one that still holds up.
Yeah.
So I just like that run and gun style, like action platformer. I love those games on the Super Nintendo.
When I was getting the footage for this and I was checking it out, I was like, when I was playing the video, I was like, wow, this looks like something I would play. Like I would have a ball with this. It's kind of like a cross between. It kind of reminds me of like a Mega Man game, a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like people do say that.
So if you're interested, Sparkster. Who makes it?
Konami.
Konami. Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah,
They're
that's
good.
why it's probably up there. That's probably one reason.
And there was something else. I don't know if you want to preface the next pickup that you had.
Yes. So I always love those thrift stores. I almost scored this.
So something super crazy, I finally scored one of these Mario Kart phones. This thing is just so neat, and surprisingly, the guy that I bought it from on Facebook Marketplace, he said that he actually found it in the thrift store. This same one that I go to, like, almost every day. And it was the one day that I did not show up to the thrift store. He actually had this. So he was able to mark it down a little bit, more for me. Instead of paying $50, I paid $40. And the cool thing is, he only got it for like $5. So he really made, on this thing. And I was happy to pay that because this thing is so beautiful. It has this. I feel like it's always missing that. And this is just a really cool little Nintendo oddity that I can now add into my collection. And I've been on a roll with the stuff from the convention and now this.
Yeah, so
That's pretty good.
I mean, someone got lucky at the thrift store. It was almost me. I go
Wasn't you?
almost like every day. And I asked the guy because I just saw it go up on Facebook Marketplace, and I immediately messaged him. He wanted like 50, and he's like, "I'll take a little off." And I was like, "Where'd you get it at?" He's like, "I just found it at the thrift store." And I'm like, "Which one?" And he told me, and I was like, "No, what day?" And he was like, "It was like yesterday or whatever it was at that time." And I was like, "No, it was the one day I didn't go to.
Oh,
I didn't go."
that rots. I've got a few things. I've got some games here, but before I do that, want to tell you about another shout out to another video game store in my area.
Hey, this is Michael Rickard from Wildcard Video Games. You are watching Game Masters on YouTube. Enjoy.
All right. So, Mike, I go there a lot and get a lot of my games, and he's another one that pulls stuff. So, Brandy, I've got my camera set up. So, again, on the Switch 2 stuff, I picked up Puyo Puyo Tetris, which even in the game store, GameStop employee, the manager there was like, "Hey, let me know how good that is." And I picked up Sonic X Shadows. Now I know you can get that for Switch 1 and other systems, but I waited because I wanted to get the Day 1 edition for Switch 2 because it's a brand new console and it even comes with like an exclusive booklet inside of it, which woohoo, So I picked these two up while I was while I was there. And I got some footage for you guys. You can guys take a look. So, if you haven't seen this, I was pretty impressed with this. How fast it is, with the gameplay. Do you have this at all for like PS5 or any of the other systems right now?
I don't, not yet. It's on my list. There's a lot on my list.
Add it to the list. She goes. But the cool part is you can do Hero Sonic, and then there's different versions of Sonic you can choose. But the other cool part is you can turn into Knuckles or what's Shadow the Hedgehog, and you can go and play, which I'm going to show you here in a second. You can play as him on the darker side of it right here, which is actually kind of cool. You can go in and do that. So, just pulling this up here. Again, it's really fast paced. Graphics are really, really good. It handles really well on the Switch 2. I was pretty impressed with it. And then I ended up buying, believe it or not, 3 copies of this. My son bought his own copy. But the Puyo Puyo Tetris. Now, this game, if you've ever played Dr. Mario and Tetris, it kind of combines it into both, but there's more like a story mode with this that you can do. Believe it or not, there's like characters in here, like anime characters.
Huh.
It feels almost like a game you'd see on a candy cab, like a Japanese candy cab. See how like the anime people pop up and that type of thing. So I don't know. I picked these up. This was a cheap Switch 2 game. I think it was only $40. And I say cheap because a lot of the games are $70, $80. So
yeah.
Have you ever played this? Ever seen this?
No, I definitely heard good things about it. So when I do get my Switch 2, eventually.
Yeah.
We talked about that last week. I think people were starting to sell me a little bit on it.
Yeah.
I think that'd be a fun one. I love puzzle games like that. And I'm a huge fan of that style.
So now I want to show you something else that I picked up, and you're going to be jealous, I think. Okay, during the Switch 2 launch, not only did they have that other bag that you could get, but they also had this bag, which is reversible. And this is like a fabric bag. I believe out in San Francisco area is where you could get this bag. And somebody messaged me and said, "Hey, I have one of these. What do you think? $15?" And I said, "Sold." Nice. And they sent it to me, and it just came in the mail today. And I know some of you guys are like, "Why would you waste your money on that?" But it almost looks airbrushed. But it was something that I wanted to add to the Switch 2 collection just to kind of have it. And remember I told you I got a really cool handheld?
Mm-hmm.
So William, who knows that I'm into hunting and stuff, he sold me this. I think it was only like $5, but it's elk hunting, and it's a nice little stock of a rifle, and then you have like the game on this side. Now I don't do a lot with handhelds, but because it's a hunting handheld, I was like, yeah, I'll take it. There's a button for scope on it that you can press, and you can actually look at the scope here. It had some batteries in it, and then it has you can do the cocking of it and pull the trigger. You can actually hear it. And then there's some other switches there. Have you ever seen this?
No, that's pretty crazy. It reminds me of like those Tiger Electronic handhelds. You know how they have like some for like Star Wars and then like Jurassic Park or something. Like where they're like a dinosaur, or where they're like, some crazy shape of something. That's actually really cool.
I was actually going to show Retro Wolf that. I know he collects a lot of the Tiger Electronic handhelds and stuff, and see if he's ever seen them before or seen it before. And it's not like super expensive or worth tons, but I thought it was kind of cool just to throw in the collection. As I have that big Buck Hunter, for the arcade one up, and I thought, it'll be fun to throw in there, especially if you're a handheld fan, right? I was kind of thrilled with that. But that was my pickups this week. Some of the stuff didn't show up, so we'll have to wait till next week. Speaking of which, before we move on, next week I have to travel for work, so I have to head back to where my company's at. So I leave Tuesday and I come back Thursday, which means the podcast is on a Wednesday. So for next week only, we're moving the podcast to Friday night at 8:00. So we hope you guys will all tune in. Yes, we hope you guys will all tune in. So you won't find us here on Wednesday next week. It'll be next week only. The podcast will be on Friday at 8 p.m. Same time, same channel, different day. Do you want to kind of get into a little bit of you had a little bit of problems this week. You had a few problems in your game room.
Sure did. This is literally something that I've never been this, I will say, this vulnerable before on my channel.
So explain to us what's going on here. Why do you have towels on the floor here?
Yeah, so things aren't always rainbow and sunshine in the game room. I am working on a game room tour, and just as I think everything is going great, we get this torrential downpour, and all of a sudden there was a leaf. Right on the outside of that door, there's a little drain, and the leaf must have been blocking the drain. So there's me drying out the carpet. That was my fault, along with a lot of rain, and that's something that now I have to address. So yeah, that happened. But you'll see, I'm gonna put a video out there, so you guys will see that. This is a whole sneak peek of this video.
So should we play the clip?
Yeah, let's just play it.
All right.
So these are the moments where I do not want an insane video game collection. This is where, things kind of take a turn and they make it really difficult to enjoy what you have. I'm talking about when these crazy things happen to you, when your collection is put into danger, essentially, when you live in an area where it's super hot and then all of a sudden torrential downpour strikes and the water is just coming down so quick that the drains that you have, they essentially clog up, and then next thing you know, you have water in your basement.
So as you can tell, the game room is in complete disarray. That was insane. I was literally standing outside in the rain. It was lightning, there was thunder. It was not like the song. It was just going crazy, and everything is fine now. Nothing got damaged, thankfully. But yes, when things like this happen with your game room, we can spend a whole nother time talking about ways that we protect our game rooms, our games. I know people are saying that's my biggest fear. Oh no. In the chat. We will do a whole topic on something like that one day.
Next
where we
week.
talk about ways to protect. So
that might be a good topic for next week to discuss, because listen, you guys can go anywhere and get the news. You can get the news yourself. And now if there's a big enough news topic, obviously we want to discuss it, but we want to do stuff that's different, right? That you guys come here and can take something away from it and learn from it. Like today you learned what the different conventions have to offer. And you learned that not everything's sunshine and rainbows in Brandy's game room.
It sure isn't.
So next week we can put together some tips that we have, especially me. I'm also in the basement. A lot of the game rooms that you'll see throughout that have tips, or excuse me, that have have their game rooms in the basement. Different people have some precautionary things done. But Brandy, I want to throw it out there, especially since we're going to do it Friday. If you have any tips, since you know what the topic's going to be next Friday, send them our way. We'll read it online, or if you want to record a small little video of you kind of showing, like a 2-minute video, and send it to one of us. Send us a link via Dropbox or Google Drive. We'll showcase it on the show here,
Mm-hmm.
and and kind of talk about it, right?
Yeah, we could go into it because here on the Game Masters, we're not just, trying to be, these like masters already, but, we try to strive for that. And one thing that we could do is with our game rooms. So if you guys have any tips for anything, whether it's, how to display things or whether it's, how to protect things from getting damaged or things like that, just reach out to us. We can have a clip. We could post it on here, next week on our channel. And, we'll go ahead and put that on the podcast. So if you guys want to reach out with any tips that you guys have for your game rooms, feel like we can all be game masters and strive for excellence here,
Absolutely. One of the other things we want to do, we want to showcase a creator. And one of the creators that I think Brandy, and I haven't discussed it with her ahead of time, but I think she would agree with me on this. One of the creators that we do want to highlight is one of the creators was the gentleman that created the Game Masters logo for us, and that is Dr. Scott in the chat room, Game Closet.
Yes.
We want to kind of do this on a regular basis. If you have a channel and you'd like us to showcase it on this show, we'd be happy to do it. Send us the information. But you guys should go check out Dr. Scott. If you like comedy, this guy put so much work into some of his videos. Like, remember what he did at Torg, and he came in and he had that special entrance, and it was one Metal Jesus' favorite games, and he put it all together. And go check it out with Game Closet. And but he also made our logo, the Game Masters, and he helps us with a lot of artwork that we need help with. And if you need a logo made, he can do it for you for a small fee.
Yeah, he's great. Great content. I will say it's very well put together. It's like it's top tier with like the editing and the production value, I will say. The comedy, it's a lot of great stuff. And, he covers a little bit of everything too. A lot of retro, some newer, different conventions and stuff as well. He goes to game stores. There's just a lot, and they're always nice, and the family, and just really great. We're super thankful, for the logo. It definitely, helped push us with this as we've, kind of been going back and forth. And it's always a fun time catching up with him and the family, and, seeing everyone at the different conventions. So definitely check out his channel. And if anyone has any tips or anything with their game rooms, make sure you guys send that in. And let us know if you guys are a YouTuber or content creator. We would love to, highlight some things. We'll check out some of your stuff. And, we want the community and everything to come together.
Absolutely. And, like, we appreciate all you guys. I made the call to action, if you will, last week, that I was like 25 away when we did the podcast, I think, Brandy, and we ended up over the 9,000 mark. And now I'm on the march to 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
And I'm going to continue grinding. I just put out a video on Monday. If you guys want to check it out, I had a video on the Miracle Piano with the NES. If you've never seen that, go check that out, as well as Toy Hio. You might find that interesting because you collect toys as well. We did a little video on that. So going to keep the videos going. We're going to keep trucking along, and hopefully maybe by the end of the year I'll hit 10,000. That'd be awesome. But
hopefully much sooner than that.
I'm hoping. I'm hoping one of these times it just takes off, and even the coverage that we're going to do at the conventions. I hope that happens. But guys, we're in it for the long haul. We're going to keep the ship moving. And if you've got suggestions for topics that you want us to cover on the show, please let us know. We'd love to. We love the feedback. Everybody coming in the chat room. And Brandy, you got anything on your end there with videos or anything like that? Do you want to let people know about?
Yeah. Trying my best to get a game room tour together. I'm hoping that there's no more hiccups. And then obviously, this was a sneak peek. I haven't made the video yet. I'll have to film that ASAP and get that out. But Super Nintendo games I did score at the convention. And I will have more convention videos in the future. Southeast Game Exchange, thank you again for stopping in the chat. Amazing convention, and that's just a couple weeks away. So I feel like in all that time, I'm really hoping I could get some stuff together in the game room and, just get some more content. So everything is always happening, and, just follow along. Follow both of our channels, and you'll see all the craziness that unfolds with both of us.
Yeah, so make sure you check it out. If you're not already subscribed to Gamer Ahmer, youtube.com/@GamerAhmer, and you can subscribe to her. And then mine is youtube.com/@TheTechBuzz, or I think you just type in the Tech Buzz. I don't know how that whole thing works. Just look for the Tech Buzz.
Yes.
You'll find it. But we'll have more coming up. That's about it for today. Hour and a half. I think we rock and rolled. Appreciate everybody hanging out. And we'll see you next Friday.
Yes.
See you later.